Today I'm reviewing the Onkyo TX-RZ70 11.2-Channel AV receiver, and if you want to check current pricing or availability, it's linked below. I've spent real time with this unit in a home theater setup, using it with different speaker configurations, streaming sources, and playback types. My impressions come from listening sessions and everyday use, not just reading specs. Let's set expectations clearly. This is not a simple soundbar replacement or an entry-level AV receiver. It's positioned toward room-filling surround sound, multi-zone setups, and people who care about calibration and flexibility. It's also not a plug-and-forget all-wireless lifestyle component. It still benefits from speaker placement and some calibration attention. In actual use, the 140 watts per channel rating translates to solid real-world headroom. What matters more than the number on paper is how it behaves with real speakers and different room sizes. With my 5.1 and 7.1 speaker setups, I found the power delivery consistent. It didn't feel strained when switching between quiet dialogue and louder action scenes. It doesn't turn into a furnace under load, and the audio stays controlled. One of the first things I paid attention to was Dirac live out of the box. In real listening sessions, Dirac room correction meaningfully improved balance and imaging in my room. It wasn't night and day dramatic, but it did tighten low end and clarify center channel dialogue without making the sound feel artificial. This unit is THX certified, which matters if you care about standardized playback levels and tonal balance. In movies, it leans toward a flat, natural presentation, which makes dialogues feel grounded and soundtracks feel cohesive. Sonos Certification was a practical advantage in my setup. Once configured, it played nicely with other Sonos-compatible gear, letting me group zones for music without jumping through networking hoops. Thermals and noise matter in receivers, especially when they're powering multiple speakers. In my setup, the receiver stayed cool during extended viewing sessions. The fan behavior was measured. It wasn't silent, but it stayed in the background relative to ambient room noise. For movies or music at moderate to loud levels, I didn't find the unit's own noise distracting. Connectivity here is broad. HDMI inputs handled multiple sources, console, streamer, Blu-ray, without a fuss. There's headroom for 8K pass-through and HDR formats, which future-proofs it for newer gear. One practical detail that mattered in real use was the user interface. Navigating menus with the remote takes a little patience, and the on-screen display isn't as slick as some competitors, but once configured, you don't revisit settings often. Now let's put this in perspective. Compared to entry-level receivers that focus on simplicity and basic stereo, the RZ70 gives you more channels, better calibration tools, and wider format support. If your goal is simple TV sound without investment, this will feel over-engineered. Versus flagship boutique receivers, it delivers much of the same functionality without demanding the same premium price. It doesn't quite outshine those ultra-high-end models in raw immediacy or refinement, but it feels like a thoughtful balance of features and performance. This receiver makes the most sense for buyers who want an 11.2-channel ecosystem with room correction, plan to run surround sound for movies and music playback, value flexible connectivity and network integration, prefer steady, controlled power delivery over flashy DSP effects. Limitations are mostly tied to complexity. If you're not planning to use more than basic stereo or 5.1, this may feel more capable than you actually need. And if your priority is a super simple set and forget interface, some other brands lean heavier on UI polish. But in everyday use, it feels robust, reliable, and measured, the kind of receiver that stays out of your way once calibrated well. Check current pricing below and evaluate it against your needs.